The champagne costs more than most people earn in a month, and Victoria Harrington holds the crystal flute like it was made specifically for her hand, which in a way it was. Custom baccarat, engraved with the family crest, a gift from a Saudi prince who once tried to court her father's favor. She stands on the terrace of the Harrington estate, overlooking the manicured gardens where imported Italian cypress trees stand like silent soldiers, and she laughs at the memory that just crossed her mind. A boy, a ridiculous, foolish, beautiful boy who once thought he could love her, who once believed that love could bridge the uncrossable distance between his world and hers. She was 17 then, he was 18. His name was Marcus Chen, and the last time she saw him, he was standing in the rain outside her father's gate, clutching a handwritten letter and a single wildflower he had picked from the roadside, because he could not afford roses. She remembers what she said to him that night, the words that had felt so natural, so obvious, so necessary. "You are not my level." She had laughed when she said it. Her friends had laughed too, watching from the window of the Mercedes her father had given her for her birthday. The memory should feel triumphant. It felt triumphant for years. But tonight, Victoria Harrington is 42 years old, and tomorrow she will stand in a bankruptcy court while her family's century-old empire is auctioned off piece by piece. Tonight, she is drinking champagne she cannot afford in a house that will belong to someone else by the end of the month. And tonight, she just received the document that will haunt her for the rest of her life. The acquisition papers. The name of the person who bought her father's company, who bought their debts, who now owns everything the Harrington name once stood for. Marcus Chen. The boy who was not her level. The boy who is now worth $14 billion. The boy who just bought her entire life. 25 years earlier, Marcus Chen wakes up at 4:47 in the morning because the alarm clock his mother bought at the thrift store has a broken snooze button, and once it starts screaming, there is no stopping it. The apartment is cold. The heating broke 3 weeks ago, and the landlord has not returned their calls. Marcus can see his breath forming small clouds in the gray pre-dawn light that seeps through windows covered with plastic sheeting meant to keep out the draft. It does not work very well. He is 17 years old, and in 4 hours he will walk into Westbrook Academy, the most prestigious private school in the state, surrounded by children whose parents could buy his entire apartment building with pocket change. He is there on a scholarship. Full ride, academic merit, the letter had said. What the letter did not say was that being smart enough to attend Westbrook and being rich enough to belong there were two very different things. He has one uniform. He washes it every night by hand in the bathroom sink because the washing machine in the basement costs $2 per load. And $2 is the difference between eating lunch or not eating lunch. His mother works 2 jobs. She leaves before he wakes up and comes home after he falls asleep. Some nights he lies in bed listening to her footsteps in the kitchen, and he thinks about telling her that he wants to quit, that the looks from the other students are not worth it, that being called scholarship boy and charity case, and the poor kid would stop if he just went back to public school. But he does not tell her, because every night, before she goes to sleep, she comes into his room and kisses his forehead and whispers the same words. "Make me proud, my love. Make all of this worth it." So Marcus Chen gets up at 4:47 in the morning. He does his homework by flashlight to save electricity. He walks 4 miles to school because the bus costs money. And he tells himself that one day, none of this will matter. One day, he will be so successful that no one will ever be able to look down on him again. Victoria Harrington notices him for the first time in advanced calculus, not because he is handsome, though he is, in a quiet, serious way, but because he answers a question that stumped the teacher. Dr. Matheson, who has a PhD from MIT and has never once admitted to not knowing something, stands at the whiteboard, staring at an equation that refuses to resolve. And Marcus Chen, the scholarship boy, raises his hand and solves it in 30 seconds. The classroom goes silent. Victoria watches from her seat in the back row, surrounded by her friends, by the children of senators and CEOs and old money families who built this country's railways and banks and Fortune 500 companies. She watches this boy in his slightly too big blazer with the frayed cuffs, and she sees something in his eyes that she has never seen before. Hunger. Not the hunger for food, though she learns later that some days he goes without. This is a different kind of hunger, the hunger to prove something, the hunger to become something, the hunger that burns so hot it lights up the air around him. She finds herself thinking about him at odd moments, in the back of her father's limousine, during her piano lessons, at the charity galas, where she smiles for photographs and pretends to care about causes she cannot even name. She thinks about the way his hands moved when he solved that equation, the certainty in his voice, the way he did not apologize for knowing more than the teacher, the way the other scholarship kids always apologize for taking up space. She tells herself it is curiosity, nothing more. He is a puzzle, and Victoria Harrington has always enjoyed puzzles. But when she catches him looking at her in the hallway 2 weeks later, when their eyes meet for just a moment before he looks away, she feels something shift in her chest, something that feels dangerously like possibility. She ignores it. She is Victoria Harrington. He is no one. Some distances cannot be crossed, but Marcus Chen does not know that some distances cannot be crossed. He does not know the rules of her world, the unwritten codes that dictate who can love who can dream of who can even speak to whom without invitation. All he knows is that Victoria Harrington has the most beautiful laugh he has ever heard, and when she laughs, genuinely laughs, not the performative giggle she uses with her friends. It sounds like music. He first hears it in the library on a Tuesday afternoon. She is sitting alone, which is rare, reading a book that is not on any syllabus. He cannot see the title, but he watches her face as she reads, and suddenly she laughs, this bright, surprised sound that escapes before she can catch it. She looks around immediately, embarrassed, as if being caught enjoying something is a crime in her world. Their eyes meet. She does not look away. Neither does he. And for 5 seconds that feel like forever, Marcus Chen believes that maybe, just maybe, the universe is not as cruel as he has always been taught to believe. He starts finding excuses to be where she is. The library at 3:15. The coffee cart by the gymnasium at 7:30 in the morning. The bench by the soccer field during lunch. He never speaks to her. He is too afraid. But he watches, and he learns, and he begins to understand the sadness that lives behind her expensive smile. She is lonely. He can see it in the way she looks out windows when she thinks no one is watching, in the way her laughter dies the moment her friends appear, in the way she reads books about faraway places, about different lives, about people who are nothing like her. She is trapped, he realizes, just like him. Only her cage is made of gold, and his is made of necessity. He thinks that maybe if he could just talk to her, she would understand. He thinks that maybe loneliness recognizes loneliness, and that would be enough. He is 17 years old. He still believes in enough. Spring arrives, and with it, the announcement that makes Marcus Chen's heart stop beating for 3 full seconds. The Westbrook Spring Formal. Every year, it transforms the school's grand ballroom into something out of a fairy tale, and every year Marcus has ignored it because tickets cost $200 and he does not own a suit and he has never danced with anyone in his life. But this year is different. This year, Victoria Harrington is on the planning committee. This year, he overhears her telling a friend that she does not have a date yet, that all the boys who have asked are boring, that she wishes someone would surprise her. This year, Marcus Chen decides to be that surprise. He works for 3 weeks, extra shifts at the grocery store, where he stocks shelves from midnight to 4 a.m. Tutoring sessions with middle schoolers who struggle with math, are selling his blood plasma twice because the clinic pays $40 per visit and does not ask questions. He scrapes together $217. The ticket costs $200. The remaining $17 goes toward a second-hand suit he finds at Goodwill. It is charcoal gray, slightly out of style, but it fits him almost perfectly. He tells himself that it is good enough. He tells himself that she will see past the clothes. He tells himself that love is not about money, that connection is not about status, that two people can find each other across any divide if they are brave enough to try. He is 17 years old. He does not yet know how the world really works. The night of the formal, Marcus arrives early. He has spent an hour trying to make his hair lie flat. He has polished his second-hand dress shoes until they almost look new. In his pocket, he carries a letter he has written and rewritten 11 times, pouring everything he feels onto the page because he knows he will be too nervous to say the words out loud. The ballroom is beautiful. Crystal chandeliers catch the light and scatter it across the room like captured stars. A string quartet plays in the corner. Waiters in white gloves carry trays of food that Marcus cannot name. He watches the door, waiting. Victoria arrives at 8:47 p.m. She wears a dress the color of champagne, and when she walks into the room, every conversation stops for just a moment. She is radiant. She is unreachable. She is everything he has dreamed about for months. He watches her move through the crowd, accepting compliments, laughing at jokes, at playing the role she was born to play. And then their eyes meet. Again, like that day in the library. Only this time, he does not look away. This time he takes a breath, steadies himself, and begins to walk toward her. His heart is pounding so hard he can feel it in his throat. His palms are sweating despite the cold. Every step feels like miles. But he keeps walking because he has spent 17 years being invisible, and tonight, just once, he wants to be seen. He reaches her. She is standing near the refreshment table, temporarily alone, and she watches him approach with an expression he cannot quite read. Curiosity, maybe. Confusion, definitely. He opens his mouth to speak, but before he can, her friends appear. Madison, Taylor, Brittany, the holy trinity of Westbrook Academy, daughters of dynasties, heirs to empires. They surround Victoria like a protective barrier. And suddenly, Marcus is facing not one beautiful girl, but 4. And all of them are looking at him like he is an insect that has wandered into the wrong ecosystem. "What do you want?" Madison asks, her voice dripping with the kind of contempt that only extreme privilege can produce. Marcus swallows hard. He focuses on Victoria, only Victoria, because if he can just reach her, if he can just say what he came to say, maybe none of the rest of it will matter. "Victoria," he says, and his voice cracks slightly on her name, but he pushes forward. "I know we have never really talked. I know you do not know me, but I have watched you all year, and I see you. Not the you that everyone else sees, the real you, the one who laughs at books when she thinks no one is looking, the one who looks out windows like she is dreaming of somewhere else. And I think maybe you see me too, Or you could, if you gave me a chance. I am not rich. I am not from your world. But I am going to be someone someday. I am going to do something amazing with my life. And I was hoping tonight you might dance with me. Just one dance. That is all I'm asking. The silence that follows is the loudest thing Marcus has ever heard. Madison is the first to laugh, then Brittany, then Taylor. 3 girls cackling like hyenas, their expensive perfume mixing with their cruelty in a cloud that makes Marcus feel physically sick. But Victoria is not laughing. Victoria is staring at him with an expression that is almost something like pain. And then her friends turn to her, waiting, expecting, demanding that she join in the ritual humiliation of this boy who dared to dream above his station. And Victoria Harrington makes her choice. She laughs. It is not the laugh he heard in the library. It is sharp and cold and designed to cut. She takes a step toward him, close enough that he can smell her perfume, close enough to see the exact moment when her eyes go hard. "Did you really think," she says, her voice pitched to Carrie, to ensure that everyone nearby can hear this moment of public execution, "did you really think I would dance with you? Look at yourself. Look at that suit. Did you get it from a dead man? Is that your grandfather's jacket?" Her friends laugh harder. Other students are starting to gather, drawn by the sound of blood in the water. Marcus feels his face burning. His hands are shaking. But he does not run. Not yet. And not until Victoria delivers the final blow. "You are not my level," she says. And the words are so casual, so matter-of-fact, that they hurt worse than any insult. "You will never be my level. Boys like you do not end up with girls like me. Boys like you end up with nothing, because that is what you are. Nothing. Now go back to whatever hole you crawled out of, and do not ever speak to me again." The laughter is everywhere now. It fills the ballroom, echoes off the crystal chandeliers, bounces off the marble floors. Marcus stands in the center of it, alone, exposed, and he feels something inside him break and reform into something harder, something colder, something that will never forget this moment as long as he lives. He does not cry. He will not give them that. He turns slowly, and he walks toward the exit with as much dignity as he can muster. Behind him, Victoria's friends are applauding. Someone yells out, "Run back to the slums," and the laughter doubles. But Marcus Chen does not run. He walks, and with every step, he makes himself a promise. He will remember every face, every laugh, every word. And one day, when he's standing at the top of the world, he will make sure they remember too. The rain starts falling the moment he steps outside. It is cold and heavy and relentless, the kind of rain that soaks through clothes in seconds, that makes the world blur and run like watercolors left out in a storm. Marcus walks to the gate of the Harrington estate, because Victoria's father is hosting the after-party. Because, of course, the richest man in the state would open his home to celebrate his daughter's social triumph. Marcus stands at that gate for a long time, letting the rain wash over him, feeling the cold seep into his bones. He looks up at the mansion, at its glowing windows and immaculate gardens, at the world he was just told he could never belong to. And he makes another promise. One day he will buy this house. One day he will own everything the Harringtons have. One day Victoria will stand in the rain, and she will understand exactly what she threw away. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out the letter he wrote, the one filled with poetry and hope and naive declarations of love. He tears it into pieces, slowly, deliberately, and watches the rain turn the paper to pulp in his hands. Then he turns and walks home. 4 miles in the pouring rain. His shoes are ruined. His suit is destroyed. His heart is in pieces. But his resolve is made of something stronger than all of it. In the years to come, when interviewers ask Marcus Chen what motivated him to build his empire, he will smile and give vague answers about wanting to help his mother, about believing in the American dream, about seeing opportunities others missed. He will never tell them about Victoria Harrington. He will never tell them about the night a beautiful girl destroyed him in front of everyone he knew. But he will remember. Every single day, he will remember. The years that follow are a blur of work and sacrifice and relentless forward motion. Marcus graduates valedictorian of Westbrook Academy, and when he walks across that stage, he does not look at any of his classmates, or he looks at his mother, sitting in the front row in a dress she sewed herself, crying tears of pride and joy. He accepts a full scholarship to MIT, and he leaves his hometown without looking back. College is different. In college, no one cares who your parents are. No one cares what kind of car you drive or what neighborhood you come from. All that matters is what you can do, what you can build, what you can create. Marcus Chen can do a lot. He double majors in computer science and business. He graduates in 3 years instead of 4, because he takes extra courses every semester, because sleep is for people who are not on a mission. He interns at tech companies during the summers, and every single one of them offers him a full-time position before he leaves. But Marcus does not want to work for someone else. He wants to build something of his own, something that no one can ever take away from him. He starts his first company in a dorm room with $2,000 he saved from his summer jobs. It fails. He starts his second company in a garage with $5,000 he borrowed from a professor who believed in him. It fails. He starts his third company in a basement apartment with $10,000 from an angel investor who took a chance on a hungry kid with fire in his eyes. It does not fail. Next-Gen Technologies launches in 2009 at the worst possible moment, when the entire global economy is collapsing and companies are dying by the thousands. Everyone tells Marcus he is crazy. Everyone tells him to wait, to be patient, to let the storm pass before he tries to build anything. But Marcus Chen has been waiting his entire life. He is done waiting. He bets everything on a revolutionary cloud computing platform that makes enterprise software accessible to small businesses. He works 20-hour days for 3 years straight. He loses 30 pounds because he forgets to eat. He sleeps on a cot in his office because he cannot afford to waste time commuting. And slowly, impossibly, Next-Gen begins to grow. By 2012, the company is worth $50 million. By 2015, it is worth $500 million. By 2018, Marcus Chen takes Next-Gen public in the largest tech IPO of the year, and overnight he becomes a billionaire. The first thing he does is buy his mother a house. Not just any house, a mansion in the nicest neighborhood in the city, with gardens and a swimming pool, and a staff to take care of everything so she never has to work again. She cries when she sees it. She tells him it is too much. He tells her it is not enough, that nothing will ever be enough to repay everything she sacrificed for him. She moves in the next week, and for the first time in her life, she sleeps past 6 a.m. The second thing Marcus does is donate $10 million to create a scholarship fund for low-income students at Westbrook Academy. He does not put his name on it. He does not want the attention, but he wants to make sure that other kids like him have a chance, that being poor never stops someone from getting the education they deserve. The third thing Marcus does is buy the grocery store where he used to work the midnight shift. He does not fire anyone. He raises everyone's wages by 50% and gives them full health benefits. He wants them to know that their work matters, that they matter. That being a grocery store employee is not something to be ashamed of. But the fourth thing Marcus does, the thing he has been planning for years, the thing he dreams about in the quiet moments between board meetings and investor calls, and the endless responsibilities of being a billionaire, is find out what happened to Victoria Harrington. The Harrington family, it turns out, did not age well. Victoria's father, William Harrington III, made his fortune in manufacturing and real estate, but he never adapted to the changing economy. He refused to invest in new technology. He ignored warnings about market shifts. He treated his employees like servants and his competitors like insects. And slowly, year by year, his empire began to crumble. By 2015, Harrington Industries was losing money at an alarming rate. By 2018, they were taking out loans just to make payroll. By 2020, when the pandemic hit and everything went digital overnight, they collapsed entirely. Victoria, meanwhile, had married young and badly. A trust fund boy named Preston, who turned out to be exactly as empty as his bank account eventually became. He spent her dowry on gambling and women and bad investments. He left her when the money ran out, taking what little remained and disappearing to Europe with a 23-year-old Instagram model. Victoria returned to her father's estate, divorced and humiliated, just in time to watch everything she had ever known burn to the ground. By 2023, the Harringtons owed $247 million in debts. The banks were circling. The lawyers were sharpening their knives. The estate, the company, everything her family had built over 5 generations was about to be sold to the highest bidder. And that is when Marcus Chen picks up the phone and calls his acquisition team. "Buy it," he says. "Buy all of it. Every debt, every asset, every piece of property with the Harrington name attached to it." His team asks if he is sure. They point out that the Harrington assets are toxic, that the company is worthless, that there is no logical business reason to take on this kind of liability. Marcus smiles for the first time in weeks. "I have my reasons," he says. "Just do it." 3 weeks later, he owns everything the Harrington family ever had. And 3 weeks after that, he decides it is time to pay Victoria a visit. The Mercedes pulls up to the Harrington estate at exactly 3:47 in the afternoon. Marcus chose this time deliberately, the same hour he arrived for the spring formal 25 years ago. The same hour his life changed forever. He steps out of the car, and for a moment he just stands there, looking at the mansion. It is smaller than he remembers. The gardens are overgrown. The paint is peeling. The fountain in the circular driveway has not worked in years. But it is still the same house. Still the same gate where he stood in the rain, watching his dreams dissolve into pulp in his hands. The front door opens, and Victoria Harrington steps out. She is 42 years old now, and life has not been kind to her. The beauty that once seemed effortless now requires maintenance she can no longer afford. The confidence that once radiated from her every movement has been replaced by something that looks suspiciously like fear. She is wearing a dress that was expensive 5 years ago. Her hair is done, but not well. Her makeup cannot quite hide the dark circles under her eyes. She looks at Marcus, and for a long moment she does not recognize him. Why would she? The boy she humiliated was thin and scared and wearing a second-hand suit. The man standing before her is tall and confident and wearing a Savile Row Custom that costs more than her car. But then something shifts in her expression. Her eyes widen. Her face goes pale. And she says, in a voice barely above a whisper, "Marcus." He smiles, and there is no warmth in it. "Hello, Victoria. It has been a long time." She takes a step back instinctively, as if being near him is suddenly dangerous. Which, in a way, it is. "I heard," she says, her voice trembling slightly. "I heard you were the one who bought everything. Is it true?" Marcus nods. "Every debt, every asset, every piece of property with your family's name on it. As of last month, I own it all, including this house." He pauses, letting the weight of that statement settle over her. "Including you, in a way. Since your father signed a personal guarantee on the company's loans, and those loans now belong to me." Victoria's hand goes to her throat, a gesture of vulnerability that Marcus remembers from 25 years ago. But this time, he feels nothing. No sympathy, no affection, just the cold satisfaction of a promise kept. "What are you going to do?" she asks, and her voice breaks on the last word. "Are you going to throw us out? Are you going to take everything? Is this revenge?" Marcus considers the question carefully. He has imagined this moment so many times, and played it out in his head in 1,000 different ways. Sometimes, in his fantasies, he is cruel. He makes her beg. He forces her to feel exactly what he felt that night in the ballroom: the humiliation, the helplessness, the crushing weight of being judged and found worthless. But standing here now, looking at the ruins of everything she once was, he realizes that revenge would be too easy and too unsatisfying. "I could destroy you," he says finally. "I could call the loans, force the sale of everything, make sure you and your father end up with nothing. That is what you deserve. That is what the world would expect." Victoria's eyes fill with tears. She does not try to hide them. "For what it is worth," she says, and her voice is so small now, so different from the girl who laughed in his face all those years ago. "I am sorry. I was young and stupid and cruel. I did not understand anything about the world, or about people, or about what really matters. I have thought about that night so many times, wished I could take it back, wished I had been a different person. But I cannot change what I did. I can only tell you that I am sorry, and hope that means something." Marcus is quiet for a long time. He looks at her, really looks at her, and he sees something he did not expect. He sees himself, not the himself he is now, confident and powerful and untouchable, but the himself he used to be, scared, desperate, hoping that someone, anyone, would see past the surface to the person underneath. He thinks about all the years he spent hating her, all the energy he poured into proving her wrong, all the nights he lay awake, replaying her words, using them as fuel to drive himself forward. And he realizes something that changes everything. She was never the enemy. She was just a scared kid, like him, playing the role she thought she had to play. She was cruel because cruelty was what her world taught her. She was wrong because no one ever showed her how to be right. Does that excuse what she did? No. Does it mean she deserves forgiveness? Maybe not. But holding on to hatred is exhausting. And Marcus Chen has better things to do with his energy. "Here is what is going to happen," he says, and his voice is calm, controlled, the voice of a man who has spent decades making billion-dollar decisions without flinching. "I am going to restructure your family's debts. You will have 10 years to pay them back instead of 6 months. The interest rate will be 0. Your father can keep the house, on the condition that he sells the artwork and the car collection and uses the proceeds to pay down the principal." Victoria stares at him like he is speaking a foreign language. "Why?" she asks. "Why would you do that?" "Because I am not you," Marcus says simply. "I spent years wanting to prove that I was better than you, stronger than you, more successful than you. And I did prove it. But being better does not mean being cruel. Being successful does not mean becoming the monster you needed to slay. I built my empire by lifting people up, not by tearing them down. And I am not going to change that now, no matter how satisfying your destruction might feel. He turns to go, then pauses. One more thing. That scholarship fund I created at Westbrook, the one that helps kids like me attend the school. I am doubling it, and I am naming it after you. Victoria looks stunned. After me? Why? Because I want you to remember, Marcus says. Every time a poor kid gets a chance because of that scholarship, every time someone's life changes because they got an education they could not afford, I want you to remember that it happened because of what you did to me. Not in spite of it, because of it. You were the spark that lit the fire. And now that fire is going to burn for 100 years, helping people you never would have noticed, giving chances to people you never would have valued. That is your legacy now, not the cruelty, the redemption that came from it. He walks back to his car, and Victoria Harrington stands frozen on the steps of her crumbling mansion, watching the boy she once dismissed drive away in a car that costs more than her father earns in a year. And for the first time in her life, she understands what she threw away. Not just a man who became a billionaire, but a human being who remained human despite every reason not to. Marcus drives in silence for a while, watching the estate disappear in his rearview mirror. His assistant asks if he wants to go to the office, but he shakes his head. "Take me to my mother's house," he says. "I need to tell her something." An hour later, he is sitting in his mother's garden, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and pink. She brings him tea, the same tea she made in their tiny apartment when he was 17. The tea that tasted like home, even when home was cold and cramped and held together by nothing but her love. "Did you see her?" his mother asks, sitting beside him. "Did you say what you needed to say?" Marcus nods. "I thought it would feel different," he admits. "I thought confronting her would be satisfying. But it just felt sad. She is not the villain I built her into in my head. She is just a person who made a terrible choice when she was young." His mother takes his hand. "The greatest victory is not defeating your enemies," she says softly. "It is becoming someone they could never have imagined. Someone they could never hurt again. Not because you are stronger, but because you are kinder. You did not become a billionaire to prove her wrong, my son. You became a billionaire to prove yourself right." Marcus feels something loosen in his chest, something that has been tight for 25 years. "You know what the funny thing is," he says. "When she rejected me, when she said I was not her level, she was right. I was not her level. I was higher. I just did not know it yet." 6 months later, Marcus Chen stands on a stage in New York City, accepting an award for Philanthropist of the Year. He has given away more than $2 billion in the past decade, funding education initiatives, healthcare programs, small business incubators, and a dozen other causes that help people escape the circumstances they were born into. He has changed more lives than he can count. He has built an empire that will outlast him by centuries, and he has never forgotten where he came from. In his acceptance speech, he tells a story, not the whole story. He saves the details for himself, but enough. He tells the audience about a boy who grew up poor, who was told he would never amount to anything, who was laughed at and dismissed and made to feel like he did not deserve to exist. He tells them about a night that broke him and then remade him into something stronger. And he tells them what he learned. "Your circumstances do not define you," he says, looking out at a room full of people who have never known true poverty, who have never felt the kind of hunger that makes you lightheaded during math class. "Your past does not determine your future. And the people who tell you that you are not good enough, that you do not belong, that you will never be their level, those people are not your enemies. They are your fuel. Use them. Let their doubt ignite your determination. Let their cruelty sharpen your compassion. And when you finally stand at the top, when you have proven everything you needed to prove, do not reach down to push them further into the dirt. Reach down to pull them up. Because the true measure of success is not how many people you step over on your way to the top. It is how many people you carry with you. The audience rises in a standing ovation. Cameras flash. Reporters shout questions. But Marcus is not paying attention to any of it. He is looking at a woman in the back of the room. A woman who slipped in quietly during his speech. A woman who is crying. Victoria Harrington. She came. He did not invite her, but she came anyway. And when their eyes meet across the crowded ballroom, she does something she has never done before. She nods. A single, small gesture of acknowledgement, of respect, of apology. Marcus nods back. And then he turns away, because some chapters deserve to stay closed. Some stories do not need a sequel. Some people belong in your past, not because you cannot forgive them, but because forgiving them does not mean letting them back into your life. That night, Marcus has dinner with his mother and his wife and their 2 children. His wife, Eleanor, is a doctor he met at a charity gala 5 years ago. She grew up poor too, the daughter of immigrants who worked 3 jobs each to give her a chance at education. She understands him in ways no one else ever has. Their children, twins named Daniel and Hope, are 7 years old and completely unaware of how rich their father is. They go to public school. They wear hand-me-down clothes. They have no idea that the man teaching them to ride bicycles could buy their entire school district without noticing the expense. That is deliberate. Marcus wants them to understand the world before they inherit their place in it. He wants them to know struggle, or at least know of it, before they know privilege. He wants them to be better than he was, kinder than he was, more compassionate than he was. Because the truth is, hatred almost consumed him. For years, his success was fueled by rage, by the need to prove wrong everyone who ever doubted him. And while that rage took him far, it also cost him things he cannot get back. Years of his youth spent grinding instead of living. Relationships sacrificed on the altar of ambition. A capacity for joy that took decades to recover. He does not want that for his children. He wants them to build, not to prove. To create, not to avenge. To succeed on their own terms, for their own reasons, without carrying the weight of past wounds into their future. So he teaches them. Every night after dinner, he tells them stories. Some are about business, and about how to spot opportunities and take calculated risks. Some are about failure, about the companies that collapsed and the lessons they taught. But mostly, they are about people. About the grocery store workers who showed him kindness when he had nothing. About the professor who loaned him money on nothing but faith. About his mother, always about his mother, who sacrificed everything so he could become who he was meant to be. And sometimes, rarely, he tells them about a girl who broke his heart. He does not use her name. He does not tell them the cruel details. But he wants them to know that pain is not the end. That rejection does not define you. That the people who hurt you are often just scared, just lost, just playing roles they never chose. And that the greatest revenge is not destruction. The greatest revenge is becoming someone who does not need revenge anymore. 25 years after a millionaire's daughter told him he was not her level, Marcus Chen watches his children play in the garden of their modest home, a home he chose deliberately, a home that reminds him where he came from. His wife sits beside him, reading a book, occasionally laughing at passages that delight her. His mother is inside, cooking dinner, humming the songs she used to sing when he was small and scared and unsure if the future held anything for him. He thinks about Victoria Harrington, somewhere out there rebuilding her life with the second chance he gave her. He wonders if she took it. He hopes she did. Not for her sake, but for the sake of everyone she might have hurt if she remained bitter, remained broken. I remained the person she was at 17. And he thinks about the boy he used to be, the one who stood in the rain, clutching a ruined letter, promising himself impossible things. That boy was not wrong to dream. That boy was not foolish to believe. That boy just did not know yet that the rejection he faced was not an ending. It was a beginning, the beginning of everything. If you are watching this right now, if you are that person who has been told you are not good enough, not smart enough, not rich enough, not attractive enough, not enough in any of the ways the world measures worth, hear this. You are enough. You have always been enough. The people who cannot see that are not rejecting you. They are revealing themselves. And one day, when you have built the life you deserve, when you are standing at the top of your own mountain, you will look back at this moment and understand. The rejection was not the wound. The rejection was the gift. It showed you who did not deserve to be part of your journey, and it freed you to find the people who do. So take that pain, take that anger, take that burning need to prove them wrong, and turn it into something beautiful. Turn it into success that lifts others. Turn it into compassion that heals wounds. Turn it into a legacy that outlasts the cruelty of small minds and shallow hearts. Because that is what Marcus Chen did. And if he could do it, starting from nothing, with everything stacked against him, then so can you. You are not their level. You never were. You have always been higher. You just did not know it yet.